it everywhere you go. Zesta! Grab a taste of quality.
Zesta tea comes in different flavors: strawberry, green tea, ginger, lemon, apple, and many more.
This advert is FDA approved.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining in. It's the IMdrive Sunny 88.7. Today is the 19th of April, 32 after 8. Uncle Ebo is seated. Welcome to From the Ashes. Good morning, Uncle Ebo.
Hi, Vickie. Good morning, and how are you doing?
I'm doing well, by God's grace.
Have you seen what someone had done?
Yes, he's blocked. He's blocked it completely.
He doesn't want me to see him, so... someone, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Vickie, I have a protest to make.
Really?
Monday, when I got out of the studio, got into my car to take off, and then I realized that Ajeman was here doing an interview on food. And I was just like, oh, so it means Ajeman was in the building when I was on air, and he didn't even pass here to say hello. Okay. But he came to the studio to do an interview on food. This was on Monday. So, Ajeman, because of you, the next time I come here, I'll be promoting breakfast. so that you can come in, because there'll be food.
I think he was in a meeting with them when we ended. I think he left before, he could catch you. That's probably the reason.
Yeah, you're trying to defend him. But the point is that he was on the premises, and Ajeman, my own kid brother, did not bother to pass here to say hello. So Ajeman, next time, I met on breakfast. Because I know if it is food, you will come inside. Vickie, today I am going to introduce a personality that we don't talk about much. We don't talk about much because he is not too attractive to our mentality and our way of thinking and doing things. But before I tell you who he is, I'd like to make a few statements.
Okay.
Ghana could have gone to the World Cup at least 2 World Cups before we actually went to the World Cup. Because there was a time when Ghana had the best team we've ever had. We had the goal king of Germany in the team, and we had a guy who had just won the UEFA with his team also in the team. We had a great crop of players. We failed to qualify. Why? Because of the principle we'll be discussing today.
Okay.
But even put that one aside, after that, the few times we've been at the World Cup in which we disgraced ourselves so much that I think every Ghanaian should try and forget. That's when we went to Brazil, when we carried sacks of money for the players. And it's interesting, Vickie, you know what happened? We carried sacks of money, chartered an aeroplane and took the money to them, and then gave it to them in cash. And now, the whole world knew that the players had cash on them, so they couldn't sleep. Because you were holding physical, you were holding dollars in a strange country.
Anybody can attack you.
And they couldn't sleep. They couldn't even concentrate on the match because now you have to keep your eye
on the money.
On the money. Anyway, even at that World Cup where we disgrace ourselves, we could have done far better than we did because we were the only team that emerged as winners, Germany, could not beat. We were the only team. They struggled. They couldn't. In fact, but for our own in some, we should have beaten them. Should have beaten them 1-0. But somehow they equalized. We were the only team they couldn't beat. And yet, in the end, we disgrace ourselves again because of this principle. You know, God in his goodness would always raise somebody to help us get to the level we need to get to. Quite often, the person he chooses to use will be the person we least would have expected he would use. You know, now the question is, the person God raises for you, what do you do to him and with him or with her or to her? So today we're going to talk about Jonathan. Jonathan is a guy I want to introduce to Ghanaians. Jonathan's father was King Saul. He is the first of Saul's children and male. So in the order, in the scheme of things, Jonathan would automatically have succeeded the father. That one was known. That one was clear. If his father dropped dead, he was the next in command. And therefore, in effect, the throne belonged to him. And he could argue that the world knew that, Israel knew that. Then out of the blue comes David. David without any pedigree. David, who could not even wear the
armor.
The armor. Who could not even use the traditional warfare weapons. He comes in. David, the shepherd boy. David, who even in his own home did not have any respect. David, whose father had to be reminded and asked, don't you have another child? Because when someone went to the house and God said, go, I've anointed somebody there. He brought everybody, but not David. And Saul knew, I have been sent here to anoint somebody. But God has disqualified everyone this man has brought to me. So he had to ask him, is that all? Or do you have? It is then that his father said, oh, yeah, yes. Yeah, there's another one. But anyway, go and send for him. David was an unlikely candidate. And that is the beauty of our God. His ways are very different from ours. His thoughts are very different from ours. And he doesn't consult us to determine who is a suitable candidate for his grace, who is a suitable candidate for his favor. He doesn't consult us. He doesn't consult anybody. And yet, when he raises somebody, sometimes we don't recognize the sovereignty of God, and we say, Vickie. Now Vickie one wine. Now Vickie about that. Who is that Vickie? Obia Bonnie. I mean, who is Vickie? That is the way we process. Because we would accept it if it is somebody we know, somebody we. But Vickie not. And then, in some circles, now on school ben or school ben or koi, and things like that. And then, on the basis of that, David, it can be. I mean, we should not take it seriously. And yet, this is God. David comes on the scene and immediately begins to make an impact. Goliath, who was a big issue, the big problem, David disposes of him just like that. And after that, Saul, Jonathan's father, co-opts him into the army, makes him captain, and sends him out to fight his battles. And every battle David went into, he came with great results. Victory upon victory upon victory, to the extent that the women, and if you would get into trouble, it is the women. If you would also get out of trouble, it is
mercy, Lord.
The woman composed a song. Saul has killed his thousands, David his 10,000s. And it becomes a hit. The song becomes a hit. Everywhere, people were singing the song. And Saul immediately takes offense and is afraid for his position. Interesting. He's afraid for his position, but he knows, okay, I've seen some. But he's also afraid of the son, Jonathan, not getting the position because of this guy. Because if they are ascribing to David 10,000 and to me, the king, 1,000, then what stops them from demanding tomorrow that he should be king? You know? So what do? This boy, I must kill him. I must kill him. But Jonathan, and thank God for Jonathan, Jonathan discerns that this guy's victories are not due to him. Because after all, who is he? But there seems to be something special about this person. There seems to be something anointing. And Jonathan was in touch with the spiritual, so he could tell this is not physical. So he aligns himself to David and tells him, I know that one day you'll be king. But when you become king, remember me and my people, my descendants. Jonathan, who knew that the rise of David means me possibly losing out, did not mind about losing that position. He recognized the bigger picture and realized that if Israel is to progress and to prosper, this is the man God has chosen to use. We don't understand why he has chosen to use him. The man himself has nothing to do with it. It is God. And sometimes we must understand, when God anoints people and raises them up and we fight against them, we are fighting against God.
That's right.
Because the people God chooses to use, they themselves had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
They were sitting there somewhere, and God just decides, I've chosen you. And Jonathan aligns himself with this guy. So much so that when his father confides in him that and that this boy must die, we must eliminate him, he goes to tell David, my father wants to kill you, so watch out. And continues to work with him till finally he helps him to escape the hands of his father for the time being. Jonathan. Now it's interesting. When Saul decided that the person God has raised to make his throne, his position even more secure, was his enemy, Saul stopped winning against his real enemies because he has invented an enemy for himself he was fighting. Saul never won any battle again. And the Philistines kept on gaining grounds. The people David had been anointed to take care of. Why has Ghana not won the World Cup? Because we haven't recognized this principle. The principle is this, that in every setting, God would anoint one person through whom all of us will look good, through whom all of us will win. Sideline him, be envious of him, be jealous of him, sabotage him, and all of us lose. It's as if we set him aside, if we sabotage him, if we undermine him, we would win and God will give the grace he has put on him on us. He won't. The destiny he's put on him to win the victories, he won't take and give to any of us. He's giving it to that person. And yet, if we don't support those people and promote them, what happens is that we dwindle. We never go anywhere. And that is why, and we see that, I use soccer because it is, soccer, you can see it more graphically. And because you can also see the beginning of a game and the end of the game, so you can analyze it. the reason why Ghana would have had a world boxing champion in Azuma, Ikote, and Co.
Okay.
is because in boxing, it is me, myself, and I. Nobody else. If I win, it's all me. I get all the credit. That's the Ghanaian mentality. The Ghanaians want everything to be about them. In soccer, there are 11 of us. I may not be in the position to score. I could give it to Minister Newman to score. But if Minister Newman scores, whose name will make the headlines? Who in your born ever could true? No, I won't give it to him. Or if I will give it to him, I will give it to him with a spin on it. You know, those who know soccer, Vickie, you're not, I'm sorry I'm using terms, but I'm sure the others would.
Is it like swindling? You have to play with the ball a bit.
No, the spin is this. Minister Newman, have you played soccer before?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You know, I can give you a passer. It will make you look bad to the spectators. Yeah. Because the way I kick it, as the ball is coming towards you, the ball is spinning. So when you touch it, it will go in a different tangent from what you expect it to be. Wow. Because of the spin I've put on it. So the spectators are sitting in the stands. They see that I have given you a pass, and they think that you couldn't control the pass. But I know why you couldn't control the pass, because I put a spin on it. You couldn't control it. That ball was not to be controlled. So they can sit back, or I will give you what we call the 50-50 pass, where if you are the striker or a forward player, the defender will break your leg if you went for the ball. So the spectators will still sit there and say, oh, but he gave me the pass. Look, he didn't even run. He didn't even go. No, I've given you a 50-50 pass. It's a career-threatening pass. If you like, go.
Wow.
And every footballer understands those kind of killer passes and will not go out, run. Then, depending on the body language of the defender, you realize that this one, if I go, it will be the end of my game. So you don't, then, yeah. And we've done this in our soccer. We've done this to the extent that we have a team only in name, but not in spirit. Because the few players who have been raised to help us go further, we will sabotage them. We will sabotage them. We either won't give them a pass, we'll give them bad passes, or we will make them sit on the bench, or we will not even call them to camp. Let's see the case of Argentina. Argentina's relationship, Argentina is the current World Cup holders. And they are the World Cup holders simply because of one person, Messi. But Messi was raised for Argentina many years ago, and Argentina did not recognize him. They didn't recognize him because they have had Maradona, and they didn't want anyone to obscure the memory of Maradona. So Argentina did not like him. So Messi goes there, and the team itself will not support him. So even though Messi was winning in Barcelona, Argentina was going nowhere. And then they would insult him and say, look at what he does in Barcelona, but when he comes here, he doesn't do anything. And the guy got very close to even deciding, I won't play for the national team anymore, because it was too much pressure. Then the president himself had to intervene and said, no, you can't go. With time, then Argentina began to wake up to the fact that, Jimmy, I mean, why are we sabotaging him? And then some of the players, especially when those who thought that they should have been the anointed, the Higuains and co, and began to faded out of the way, and a new crop came. And then they decided that we will rise with you. we don't mind making you look good.
Yeah.
We would make this team Mercy's team. So, captain, make him captain. And then they said, we will play for you. To the point that when a new manager for the national team was appointed, for the national team in Argentina, he flew to go to the base of Messi and said, I've been made the national captain, the team manager. What are your desires? What do you want me to do? How do you want me to do this?
Wow.
Who do you want to play with? This is the coach, the national team manager. Who do you think would make you shine? Because I want you to shine. This team is your team. It's Messi team. And the result is what we saw. The players would die, would kill for him. They didn't care that it would be his name. Mm-hmm. But they knew in he becoming big, we all get big. In people mentioning Messi, we all get mentioned as well. Now, we can all go around and say, we are World Cup winners.
Yeah.
Why? Because Messi is a World Cup winner. We haven't learned that principle in Ghana. So in Ghana, the Messis among us, we will sabotage them. We will destroy them. We will frustrate them. We will sabotage them. We will sideline them. And we would accuse them of all kinds of things. When your name becomes, the bigger your name becomes, the more false accusations are leveled against you. People who even haven't met you before have stories about you.
Yeah.
They've never met you.
Yeah.
They have stories about you. Why? Because, we'll be a bonidin. Why? We don't realize that in every situation, God would anoint somebody or a few people in a big contest through whom all of us will look good. And we've got to learn to be sensitive to those people. And when we see one, that is the one who makes us look good, we all need to align behind this person. We all need to give our best to this person so the person can shine. And when that person is shining, we would all shine.
Yeah.
We would all shine. There's a band, and I'm sure I'm going to get into trouble with this. You know the band called Ulome?
Yeah.
Ulome had a key player there. He's the one people love to see. And then somehow a bit of misunderstanding came. So he left. He could not deal with it. And at that time they felt that, is he the only person who can play this kind of instrument? He should go. He wants to go. Let him go. So he left. And that was the end of Ulome. It never maintained its position, and it never went higher. The guy too, nobody heard of him again. And that's a painful thing. David had to spend years roaming around, hiding, to the point that he now had to go and recruit himself to the Philistines, the very people he had been anointed to destroy, to survive, just so he can survive. So that is what happened when Saul targeted him. In the end, though, the throne still came to him because God is God and God will make it happen. But the years of struggle and all that, and then Saul, he died a disgraceful death. His children, he lost everybody and lost even the kingdom because the Philistines took it over. Indeed, even lost the Ark of the Covenant. One of the most painful things to happen, lost the Ark itself to the Philistines. Let's be careful. My question this morning is, imagine how much progress and prosperity Ghana would have had if everybody who God anointed to make a difference was given the chance to play their role, imagine what will happen if a company like Sunny looked at who are the stars, who are the people who, when they are on the air, will listenership go up. And then everybody decided that, look, let's give them the best possible times. Imagine what will happen in any media network. Imagine what will happen in any company if some of the people who are bringing in good results were encouraged to even do more and were celebrated. There is a media house in Ghana, I won't mention the name, who were blessed with one person who somehow connected with their base so well that when he's on air, nobody wants to listen to anything else. And when they discovered that, they gave him all the freedom. He had the freedom to choose what kind of program he was going to do, freedom to decide what kind of guests he's going to have. He has a producer, but the producer is only a producer in name. Run the show. It is yours. And the company continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger. That is the way to do it. If we would only allow the people we know, and Vickie, we know it. You can always tell who God has given a special anointing to. We can tell. If those people, we responded to them with joy, with celebration, and said, this is God's anointed. Now, let me make it personal. Imagine what your life would have been like if everybody who had the means and the power to open new doors for you and to make you go higher had played their role. You would have been way out there.
Yeah.
Plus, those people who would have opened those doors for you would also have benefited from your being there. It would have been the best investment they could ever have made.
Absolutely.
But this is Ghana. I mean, they're going to say, did you remember Nana Drobo? Nana Drobo was a guy who came up and said, he was a herbalist.
Okay.
Who came up and said he has been given the cure for AIDS.
Okay.
Japan came for him. He ran away from Japan because he said, when he saw what they want to do with what he has been given, he realized it will not be in the interest of Ghana or anything. So he found a way and ran away. So when he came back, it became a whole controversy and things like that. So I spoke to somebody in one of our medical research centers. And I said, you guys, Nana Drobo's claims, why don't you at least give him a hearing and see whether there's something in it or not? Why are we sitting down for some other country to come and pick him to go and do whatever they want to do with him? Vickie, this was the guy's answer. And I'm quoting him. He spoke Twi. Mr. Whyte. Now, so you name wahene. If I go and help him, if we go and do this, that's what ye onimi wahene. So, any and there. I'd like to end with my own personal testimony.
Okay.
And it's a story I love telling. I'm not too sure the person involved in the story enjoys hearing me tell it. But it is a story of me and my kid brother, the one who comes directly after me.
Okay.
Kweku was given, his name is Kweku. Kweku was given a special grace that I didn't have. He had such favor upon him that I did not have. he developed much faster than me. So at every point, he looked like my big brother because he loved food like a German. I don't. I have always had a very difficult relationship with food. Kweku was much more intelligent in school than I was, by far, in school than I was. Kweku was much more socially adjusted than I was. That wherever he went, people fell in love with him and talked a lot about him. And what that did was that it annoyed me. So I beat him a lot.
Wow.
And it didn't help that he was also the favorite of my mother. And so my relationship with him was a very hostile one. Hostile from my side. He never responded to me in any with any hostility or anything. Then one day, the Spirit of God asked me this. I was still a small boy. But the Spirit of God spoke to me and said, why do you hate your brother? What did he do to be what he is? Then the Spirit of God said, I made him who he is. I've made him as wonderful as he is. Learn to celebrate him. So after that, I began to celebrate my brother. I was comfortable that he was more intelligent than me, and I would announce it to anybody. If I went anywhere and did anything and you were impressed, I said, wait till you see my brother. Wait till you meet my brother. I was touting what God has given him so much. And then, years go on, we grow. Kweku went to a teacher training school. And he said he was told there that the teacher training certificate was equivalent to GCE O-level. So he didn't write O-level, but rather wrote A-level. In one of the subjects, geography, he made a B. His tutor, his geography tutor at the training college, made an F. He wrote the exam with his tutor as a private student.
Right.
That's it. So when Kweku finished the Form 4 teacher training thing, he could teach at Prempeh College. He was teaching maths at Prempeh College. Wow. And then he discovered that without writing the GCE, he couldn't, O-levels, he wouldn't, even with the A-levels, he would not get it. Because the A-levels, he had AABB. In those days. I'm talking about something that happened way in the 70s. So he had to teach at Prempeh and write the O-levels and make it there. Kweku got to the university before me. But it is because of Kweku I also went to the university. Because he came to me, I was working at SNET one day, one evening, and said, it is not right for me to be at the university and you are not at the university. So come, we are going to registry. I've discovered a course you can do. Let's go. And we are going to register. But he could do that because I had celebrated him. I was comfortable with the fact that God has made my kid brother bigger than me, more wonderful than me, more excellent than me. I was cool with that. And all I pray for is, in what other ways can I support him? And whatever ways I could support him, I did. And in doing that, here I am. And that is a wonderful thing about supporting those God is raising, because then you align yourself with the purposes of God.
That's right.
And you cannot fail to be blessed. And that is my presentation for today. Let's remember Jonathan, and let's become a Jonathan for somebody today.
This is amazing. Message coming through says, thank you, Uncle Ebo. You make it so sweet listening to you. Must or can everyone become a leader? Listening to your illustrations on the football team, there are those who will not score. It is even hard to see their contribution, but immediately such players are injured or taken out, you clearly see deficiency. Now must everybody be seen? For me, I think powerful, strong, and successful people are people who operate behind the scenes. And this is coming in from Nana Hesi Uchri. A few messages on Facebook. I forgot to mention that we are live on our handle at Sunny FM Ghana. This one is from Gracie Frimpong. Good morning from Dansoman, Accra. Sunny FM, you are the best. Wendy said, good morning, family. Uncle, this is serious. Working in true unity, not a fake one. Lord, help us all in our families, our fellowships, offices, various groups we belong to. God bless Uncle Ebo. Sunny FM, God bless you, Sunny TV, for this. What have you done with Jonathan? And this one is coming in from Eli Nuku. I think it's a very powerful title. What have you done with Jonathan? Kwesi Bless says, God bless you for your teaching. Martin Bewa says, Ghana, God help us eschew selfishness and see the good in people and help celebrate them. So, Uncle, in turn, as a people, what you're saying is that we need to celebrate.
No, I think we just need to understand the purposes of God. That Vickie, God, His ways are not our ways. The prayer you may be praying, the answer for you, He may give to somebody else. For you. Do you understand me? He Himself will not drop it for you. He will give it to somebody else. The question is what's your relationship with that person? Vickie, there are churches where the most anointed preacher is never allowed to preach. Because they allowed him to preach once, and they didn't like the impact he made. And so he would never preach. He would never preach again. And so that church that could have grown to become a mega church will continue to struggle and remain a small church.
Ruby says, Uncle, sometimes when we allow these people to be celebrated, what it is that they become too pompous to come down to the level or even realize that it's the team members behind the scenes that are helping them to shine.
Yeah, that's their problem. God will deal with them. God knows how to deal with them. Because when God anoints them and they don't recognize the source of it and the purpose for that they being exceptional, the same God can anoint somebody else and ignore them and set them aside. After all, it was God who called Saul and made him king. When Saul failed to understand that, he set him aside. So our bit is celebrate the guy because God has put his favor upon him.
Okay.
If he becomes too big, if he's showing all of us, being arrogant to all of us, don't worry. The same God who raised him knows what to do.
Thank you so much. Doreen Adu says, powerful. Thank you, Uncle Ebo. Uncle Ebo, we're looking forward to tomorrow. This is Real Nuggets.
That's right.
We appreciate you so much. I'm praying that we'll have more of Uncle Ebo when he's gone. Uncle Ebo, are you grooming some people?
Am I?
Are you grooming anybody to start in your stead?
Oh, yes.
Wonderful,
there are quite a lot of people God is raising. I am not grooming them. God is raising them. Because sometimes I think it is a mark of a bit of arrogance to think you can groom anybody. It is God. If God gave you this anointing, it is not up to you to decide who to pass it on to. We must remember that.
Wow.
The pastors who are choosing their successors should watch it. They should watch it. Because it is not for you. It's not about you. Unless God speaks clearly to you and say, Newman is the one I have chosen to follow you. I was very close to Apostle to me.
Okay.
Church of Pentecost.
Okay.
When he became chairman, I was very, very close to him. One day, I went to him and he said, Uncle Ebo, God just showed me who would take over from me. I said, really? He said, yes. He said, I dreamt that I had piloted this huge aircraft and landed it And as I got out of the plane as a pilot, so I was dressed like a pilot. Mm-hmm. Another pilot with his team were walking to the gangway.
Okay.
And then we exchanged, and he went into the cockpit and took off. And he said, I saw that man clearly. He would be the one after me. He did not, after that one, he kept it to him. He didn't even tell the guy. He didn't tell the guy. That God revealed he would fulfill it. But it was not a person he had in mind.
Okay.
But when that dream was given to him, he immediately backed off and said, media. He will decide who. And maybe someday, tomorrow, maybe I'll tell you how he himself became chairman.
Okay.
Because that's also a fascinating story, how Apostle Ntumi became the chairman for Church of Pentecost. Wonderful man. Opening and open.
Thank you so much, Uncle Ebo. From the Ashes was brought to you by Secure Pale. And of course, Zesta Tea. Message says, of course, sunny frequency modulation is the best in Ghana, Diana. And for Uncle Ebo, this one also says, you said when he is gone. Sorry, but I'm wondering if I missed something. No, he shared it all, and I'm sure there's more to share tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. And listen to Uncle Ebo some more.